Hurricane Idalia is continuing to push towards Florida's Gulf Coast after lashing Cuba. The storm brought heavy rain to the island, with 10 centimeters coming down on Sunday alone. The western part of Cuba has been particularly hard hit, including a province that is still recovering from Hurricane Ian almost a year ago. Idalia is expected to arrive on Florida's coast by tomorrow. Well, for more on this, we are joined by Chris Fogarty, head of operations at the Environment and Climate Change Canada's Storm Prediction Centre in Halifax. Thanks so much for joining us, Chris. Let's talk about the trajectory of this particular storm and some of the elements that it's bringing with it.
Yeah, this is a concerning track for a storm in Florida because it's coming up on the western side of the state, and that poses a risk to the Tampa Bay area, in particular, the most populous part of the western coast. Right now, it looks like it'll hit the Big Bend area, which is a lesser populated region. But like we saw with Ian last year, if you're anywhere to the east of the track, it's a bit of a precarious spot. So rightfully so, Tampa, Clearwater area, they're inside of the hurricane warning, and it won't take much of a track shift to the east for things to get more problematic in that area.
Floridians are no strangers to this kind of wild weather. How do you think this is going to rank in comparison to Ian and other major hurricanes that have swept through the U.S. southeast coast?
It's concerning how quickly it did intensify, and you've probably heard already this season water temperatures are particularly warm down there. So that is, of course, rocket fuel for these storms. And if you can get rapid intensification, too, that's hard to predict. So it would not totally surprise me if it reached Category 4 strength. And the big hope is that it does not do that eastward shift like Ian did last year, and kind of surprised a few parts of Florida.
Is this particular storm expected to sweep up the east coast and affect parts of the northeast and even parts of Atlantic Canada?
That's the thing with this one. It does not look like it will go right up the eastern seaboard of the U.S. It kind of moves into Georgia, southeast, maybe part of South Carolina, then goes eastward and kind of dissipates and stalls there. So it's not a big concern right up the Atlantic coast like a lot of the systems can be.
In terms of preparations, I mean, obviously we've already seen a lot of the preparations that are happening down south with sandbagging. But how does one prepare for a mega hurricane like this, or any kind of hurricane that's expected to make landfall? What's some of the best advice for people on the ground?
Yeah, in Florida, of course, they have this, the general awareness of hurricane season, and a lot of the preparations, I think, for Floridians are longer term things that they need to think about. It's a lot of stuff you can't really do in the few days before the storm. You have to kind of think ahead, try to get out of the vulnerable zones, beat all that traffic. So the further ahead you're thinking, the better. The other, short-term advice is, the standard, expect 3 days to be away from your property and that sort of thing. But a big event could displace you for, a week or more.
Well, Chris Fogarty, we appreciate your time to discuss this hurricane. We appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem.